At this time, we do have a few extra people this morning. I normally take visitors and public comment. So I'd like to do that maybe in a respectable manner. Maybe if we could start with Mike, or how about this lady here? Anybody who wants to speak?
My name's Ann White.
All right.
I'm here about the Silica Transfer Station and the dust and the traffic pollution in general, the danger to all our healths, and life as we know it in Tunkhannock.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you being here. Anybody else?
I just want to let you know that our hands are not tied. As citizens, we've obtained air monitoring since impact fees apparently can't be used in our county for air monitoring, because we had asked for air monitoring, we did not get any. So we've found air monitoring from scientists in England, West Virginia, Carnegie Mellon, and also Texas, a girl who is an atmospheric scientist. That will only last 6 months. Our question is, what happens, what will we do after that to protect our community? DEP, an article just came out from the Pittsburgh Gazette called Power Source yesterday, where the head of air monitoring quality for our DEP had to testify at a hearing on how they do not test for all hazards, and it was because of a legal issue. So we don't trust DEP's monitoring based on that. If the head of the DEP is saying they're not testing properly, we would like to spend, it's only $2,000 a month for air monitoring, so there is no reason that we don't have it. Also, Open Record says I have the right to recordings or anything. I understand executive session maybe, not so much, but I would like to know why we're not allowed a right to know request, because there was no legal reason I was given when I received an email from Nicole Bowling regarding Attorney Davis is saying that.
I can help you with that.
Yes, I would like to know, because there should be a legal reason in writing.
Let her finish all her subjects.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, there should be a legal reason in writing, and
You were contacted by Nicole because I got all the...
yes.
We so far have not, we don't have a transcript at the meetings. We don't have a person to do that.
I understand
It's
that.
a big cost and everything. But Nicole should have sent you an email saying that as soon as we had the minutes together, you would get them. We have to approve the minutes by our planning board before the minutes can be pushed onto you. But we actually contacted you right away, let you know that, and as soon as those minutes are available, we'll give them right to you. We got kind of a nasty email back. We're trying to work together, but we get thrown under the bus quite often, and it's not very nice.
I would gladly share the nasty email with anyone who would like to see it, because I did pass it on. I did pass it on.
But I'm not here to argue about that. That's
I know
silly.
the law, and Open Records law says I'm allowed to have recordings.
Once it's turned over to our attorney, we have 30 days to provide them to you, legally. We have 3 days in the beginning, but once it's turned over to our attorney, we have 30 days. It's not going to be 30 days. We'll have it to you sooner.
And there is
the
an
board
appeal
hasn't seen it
process with the Open Records, so we will probably pursue that as a group.
You can do whatever you want
Yes.
with that. But
And I
it's
also
kind of
recommend that the media do their own right to know request. So thank you.
We're not trying to hide anything, so I think that's important that everybody get a copy of that. Thank you. Anybody else? What is that? Is that a camera? Or is it
Yes, it's a
All
little
right.
flip camera. I told you I was recording.
Video, okay.
Because things get taken out of context, and this time I'm covering my butt.
I know that. I think you should. Go ahead.
My biggest concern is my grandchildren
Mine too.
moved to this area, and also all the children in the area. The daycare center and the ball fields, we know how many children go there, parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles. It's proposed to be in a heavily trafficked area. That road coming around that bend out of the Stonecrest up and through that area has always been a dangerous road to travel on. And, you know, living in Wyoming now, for most of my life I lived in Tunkhannock, but I deal with the sand transfer plant all the time. And as a teacher, well, I'm retired now, but I was on the playground that was on the back side of the transfer station. And when the wind kicks up, that stuff just flies through the air, like in a little funnel. And, when we had the flood on the first year our newly opened school, the tankards crashed through the lower playground fencing, and we lost the use of the facility in the rear where the children would play. And they were playing in a parking lot for many months. There's a lot of ramifications for a big facility like that in a small town, and so close to a highly populated area. And there are some faces I see out there, of my granddaughters. You need to see the cute little faces that represent our young community members and our future generations. We do not want this town to go down in history as a place not to visit. We've always been a welcoming town, and I believe that we could continue to do that, but I don't know who the owners of this facility are, but it'd be interesting to know where their children live, where their grandchildren live, where their relatives live. Are they going to be exposed to the same thing that our families are going to be exposed to? Are they going to have all the heavy traffic and all the trucks and diesel fumes and additional activity? Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you. I want to make it clear that we, as commissioners, I think my whole life has been dedicated to making Wyoming County one of the greatest places to live. I was part of the people that brought the theater. I belong to the Lions Club. I started the first Relay for Life. This stuff is very important to us. I want you guys to realize that. And this has gone through a bunch of steps before it's gotten to us. I mean, we want to try to do everything possible to stop this. We're not in favor of this, and I don't know why anybody ever thought that we were. I know that it's gone through Tunkhannock Township. They had the opportunity to stop this. They were the only ones that did, actually. They had they could have used this as a floodplain and said that nobody could build on there, but nobody was there to stop them. And it's gone through PennDOT. It's gone through all the regulatory things that they can do legally. And now it's been dumped in the judge's hands. It still hasn't been dumped in ours. We still don't have a way to stop this. And trust me when I say that I really would like to stop this if I could, but we don't have a way to do that. You're shaking your head and grunting at me and saying
I'm not.
that
I
can,
have
but
throat
there's not a way
problems from
possible that this can be
allergies
done.
that went to the air.
I'm talking. I totally agree. I totally agree with that. So give me an answer. Work with me. I've asked you to come to my office and sit and
You
work.
never spoke with me.
Oh, I talked to Eileen.
But
Eileen passed on the message.
But you
I'm
didn't
just
call
saying
me
that
directly.
You're not really giving us a chance. I mean, give us a chance. Tell us how you want us to respond. And if it's in our power, we would do that. But it's not. Our hands are really tied at this point.
Let me share
Sure.
an email that
Sure.
I sent to Mrs. Epps
Sure.
from DEP, and of course I received no response as well as you.
Yeah, we don't
Right,
have
right.
any-
DEP doesn't want to even touch this. Mrs. Epps, I'm a county commissioner in Wyoming County and very concerned with the health and welfare of our citizens. As you may know, D&I Silica is going to site a silica facility off of Route 9216 in Tunkhannock Township. I'm concerned the material used, silica, will become airborne and cause breathing and other health problems to our citizens and those who will be employed at the or work at the facility. We have a need for COPAMSs to be monitored. That's the silica to be monitored. I am asking for your help in getting a baseline and or monitoring the facility itself, which will be operational soon. Maybe I can facilitate a meeting with DEP, D&I Silica, and a few of our other concerned citizens to talk about air monitoring. I have, to this date, have not received an answer. This was last Thursday I sent this. I called her on Monday morning at 9:15. She was not in her office, and waited for a call back, which did not come.
Right.
Okay? That's number one. Number two, I did have a chance to talk to a physician, a heart doctor that was at your meeting, at the planning commission meeting, who also stated there is a lot of concern with silica. You know, the further your silica's away from you, the better. But the people who are gonna work in that facility are really gonna have a problem, unless they're properly suited up. And if they have to be properly suited up, it makes me wonder what's gonna happen to our children in the daycare and soccer fields, and little league fields. So I'm concerned about it, very concerned. Trying to do everything we can to get some answers for you, and I'll continue to do that.
Thank
We
you.
all have.
And, that's if you know.
Betty Ann Weaver Shaver. I'm just wondering, does the county, are you on a level where I had started a petition to ask the school board, the Wyoming County Commissioners, and the townships to, on their own, request a new study from the Department of Transportation, because traffic has really gotten to a really bad point. And at what point can one of these community, you know, what level can they begin to request a new study be done, because it has changed since it started. Can the county do that?
No.
So it's in each of the townships that it
It
has to
has
be
to
requested?
start with them first.
Okay.
Yeah.
He has to start with the township on
And do
that.
you think that sounds like a legit, I mean, am I on board here that, yeah, traffic's changed, so we need to request
Right,
PennDOT?
since the bypass and everything, we still have a ton of
If
traffic.
you get the township to support you,
Right.
a letter, you may have a chance.
And it doesn't have to just be Tunkhannock Township, because part of it is in Eaton. I live in Eaton Township.
Correct.
So
Correct.
part
And
of it
Eaton
can
does
come.
have zoning.
Oh, I
and
know,
Eaton is
yeah.
is a little progressive there.
Yeah.
I mean, so, no,
Okay, thanks.
you're welcome. Sure.
I can't help but wonder why or how we could reach this junction if you folks have your hands tied and have nothing you can do. I drove fire engines in South Philly and Center City, Philadelphia. I'm a Philly fireman, 33 years. I have a degree in applied science. How do you even begin to put a known carcinogen next to a daycare center and a Pee Wee baseball? And does anybody have a comprehension of what 750 additional trucks per day is like?
Yeah.
It's 100 and some an hour. It's ridiculous. I take recyclables from the library down to the dump every week, and it sometimes takes 2 or 3 lights changing to get through that intersection.
I'm with you, I do that too.
Okay, well, now you see what I'm talking
Right.
about. Add another 150 trucks an hour, and you're not going anywhere.
What
Nobody will come into this town because it'll effectively be sealed by traffic. It'll be gridlocked.
What I was trying to bring up though is that this has gone through all of those cases before it's got to us. That's the only reason that we have our hands tied. If I could say this morning, stop this, and they
Well,
would,
that's
I
my
would.
question. Why are we here? See,
Right,
your
why
hands
did
are
it get to
tied.
this point?
But I
Right.
don't believe our hands are tied. I think if we all stick together and fight this, I think
There
we
is an
can do
appeal
something.
process or something?
Well, I'd like to know
We'll
about
find
that.
something, because,
Right,
you know, I don't feel our hands are tied. I mean, if all you folks are with us and help us out here, I think we can proceed. I'm mad at DEP right now for not even responding. Is
but
what
they
I mean,
have
she
responded
is,
again.
she is pretty high up in DEP, and I think she would have responded to myself and to, I think, Audrey, you sent
Well,
them. didn't you?
all of us did, actually.
Called
But
So they're not cooperating, we've gotta get them on board, and, see if we can at least get air monitoring here.
I'd also like it being put on the record there are more people that wish to be here today, but they work. Most of us are
Right.
flexible hours or retired.
Oh, that's understandable, absolutely.
Commissioners, can I interject
Sure.
one thing?
Sure, Jim. Jim is our solicitor.
I think everybody probably knows this, but I just want to make sure that there may be some people here that don't know that the planning commission in July denied the application. Does everybody know that?
yes,
Okay. Now the matter's in court because the applicant, D&I Silica, has filed 2 legal proceedings. One is called an action in mandamus, and the other is a land use appeal. So this whole matter right now is before the court. It's way beyond the point where the commissioners can interject themselves in terms of influencing the court decision. The court is supposed to hear this matter on the 31st of October. And how many of you were at the Planning Commission meeting last week? I know some of you were. The Planning Commission, I think you were there when this happened, has authorized me as the solicitor to try to work out a compromise with D&I Silica. It's not the best solution to the problem, but it would alleviate the traffic situation somewhat. Traffic situation, there's no way that we can have any effect on that because the access to this site was subject to a PennDOT permit. That permit was issued as a part of the overall planning procedure. It was one of many things that had to be accomplished by the applicant in order to obtain approval. I don't know the details of this, but somebody asked a question about what can you do about the decision of PennDOT about this access. I think it could have been appealed. I think it could have been appealed. I don't know the procedure, but it's obviously a done deal now. The permit's been issued and it wasn't appealed.
You have 30 days to do that.
Well, it's been a lot longer than 30 days.
For this last permit, they need another
Since
permit.
the change.
Since the change.
The other thing I think you folks have to
For when there is a
understand,
change.
the other thing I think you folks have to understand, the Planning Commission, which is specifically delegated the power to review planning applications to approve or disapprove, they must be impartial. They can't be an advocate for anything. They have to enforce the planning ordinance and the municipal planning code. That's their duty. And I think that's all I'd like to say right now, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Jim.
Tom, I just have one other, I'm not
Sure.
going to reiterate what's been said,
Sure.
and thank you for all you've done, and, of course, this is the first meeting I've come to, so I really appreciate hearing from you directly, what you have and what you are willing to do. I just have one big concern, that's safety when if this does go through and those railroad cars are brought on that siding, and, the crossing arms have to go down, and so traffic is blocked, God forbid, what if an emergency vehicle, a fire truck or an ambulance has to go through? And when I had one experience in '96 when the weather played a part.
Right.
But God bless those emergency vehicles, they got up our wonderful dirt road. But, it's, that is a concern, and minutes matter. And so
Absolutely.
that's something that maybe, isn't at it isn't at the top of the list, I realize, because, health
It's
is
definitely
of
extremely
utmost
important.
concern.
Yeah.
But thank you again,
Thank
I
you.
appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you
I
very
just
much.
feel if all concerned work at this, I think there can be a solution, I really do. If D&I Silica wants to be a good neighbor, they should come in here and help us out. And also DEP must bump up their wick, get in there and help us out. Everybody working together, I think something will happen. Many hands make light work.
One more question, please. If and when this thing goes through, is there any mention been made of security around there? You know what trains are like to kids? Are you gonna have security around there? Even if the trains aren't moving, there's gonna be sand.
That would be up to the
residue.
company, and I'm sure they would, because they don't want any lawsuits either.
They're putting it where they're putting it. I'm not that sure they're concerned about anything but a dollar sign.
That's
You have more
true.
faith in humanity than I do, sir.
Not with them, I don't, none. And I'm not trying to, I'm sorry, did I interrupt them?
No.
No, go ahead.
I'm not trying to sound condescending, but do we understand it is not the sand, it is the dust created by the motion of this sand. They're finite particles as far as the health aspects go.
Okay, I think we all.
It's not the sand itself, well, it is, because then you create the dust.
That's right.
But just the fact that they will be emptying and loading, and there's a gentleman over there that I spoke with earlier, near the Wyalusing. His wife actually gets it under her dentures.
Oh, wow.
I mean, this is serious stuff. Yeah, And I realize we're pushing the traffic, and that is a big concern, because Tuncanoc's gonna become a ghost town. It's quaint, it's sweet, it's a great place to visit if you don't already live here. But this'll ruin us.
I
There's no two ways about
did
it.
talk with the owner from D&I, and he tried to sort of soften things up, and I explained to him that, you know, I appreciated what he was trying to do, but they're not a good neighbor. And I guess I ended it with, yes, we are a small town. I said, but you don't live here. And he just shook his head, and he agreed. He doesn't live here. He lives in Sheffield.
You're right.
So,
Right.